They said, don't polish big rocks in a little polisher. Okay, I get it. But what happens if you do? And for those who want to know, let's find out. This is the pudding stone I want to polish a little bit because I don't like those fractures and these places where I'm sure the plow hit the pudding stone, and so I want to kind of smooth that up a little bit. I don't necessarily want to smooth it completely. I don't like the look of the pudding stones that look like they're just, you know, a piece of pudding. I like the pudding stones to show a little bit of their structure instead of being all smooth and polished. But I do want to get rid of those plow marks. It's a nice pudding stone. I think it will do well, just so it doesn't get jammed up in there. Now here's another piece of pudding stone. I'm going to throw that in there. And then fill up the rest of the way with some of these random rocks that, all right, they're not really all that special, but I wouldn't mind having them polished up a little bit. Look at that tiny, tiny little pudding stone right there. That's kind of funny looking. In there with the rest of it, and that probably turned to dust. And these other random pieces, we're going to put in a tablespoon of this grit. We're going to put in some water, and then we'll just see what happens. It ought to be fun. I'll probably check this in a couple of days, see what's going on, and then hopefully, if 2 days will do it, great. But otherwise, I'll just keep it up. As promised, here I am taking this thing apart after 2 days. And we're going to see what that pudding stone looks like. Nice. It's dry, and I think I want to let it go a little bit longer. I am liking what I'm seeing. So maybe a couple more days. Same thing with this one. I know the instructions for these things say don't do the thing that I am doing here. But this is how we learn, right? So I'm going to put this baby back in there. Put all those other things around it. And I am going to put some more grit in because I don't think there's any grit left in there. We'll put the lid on and see where this takes us. Well, it's been almost 2 full days. It is cold. It is 26 degrees, but I wanted to do this out here just because of the mess. So let's just take a look at what's going on here. All right, well, it appears as though something happened. All right, I think I'm going to be happy. I mean, I can't just keep grinding away on that little fracture point, but it looks like the marks from the plow are mostly gone. Maybe there's a little tiny bit right there. This looks pretty good. I'm pleased. The other little pudding stone looks nice. If I go very much further with it, I think I'm going to lose some of this. So I'll set that off to the side. Now these other rocks, little bits of granite and chert. I guess that's the little bonus of this other project. There's that little tiny pudding stone. Most of the rest of these are white quartz, which I have a thing for white rocks. I might do a little bit of a video on that someday. These look pretty sharp. All right, I'm pretty pleased with what I have so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some of my step 2 spacers, silicon carbide 220 grit. They probably already have some of that on them, residual. I'm going to put a nice big heaping tablespoon of grit in there. I'm going to add a couple of extra rocks just for fun of it. They've been through stage 1 before, so that one is
piece of granite, I think, and that one is a piece of silicified honeycomb coral. That might wear down quite a bit. We'll find out. So that's the fun of doing this kind of stuff. And then we're going to add some water. Another piece of that silicified honeycomb. And there's another piece of it. All right, I think we are ready to roll. Put the lid on, see what happens. Yeah, I know it's only been 4 days. I want to see what's going on with that pudding stone. All right, let's take a look. Boy, that is nice and foamy there. Holy cow. Oh, this is a mess. Well, it's only been the 4 days, but I think I'm going to move these things along. This is looking pretty good, but I don't want to grind on it too much more, so I'm going to move to the finer grit. I think I've just about lost one of the little pieces of jasper there. So I'm at the point where, all right, let's just go to the next grit, finer grit, and then we'll polish it up, see where that takes us. Those fractures I keep talking about, almost gone now. That's a surprise. And these other things, you know, I've said all along, they're expendable. I'm liking that though. That pudding stone looks pretty cool. And the little one is still surviving. You know, we'll see where this takes us now. Here we go. We've got the rocks. We've got step 3 spacers. We're going to have a heaping tablespoon of this grit. Some water. And it's off to the races. Okay, it's been 7 days and 7 nights, and we're going to take a look at what we have. That's nice. I like how that banding is showing up now, which you really couldn't see it before. So this is good. I'm pleased. And the rest of these rocks coming up pretty nice too. That pudding stone looks pretty sharp. You know, I'd never really noticed that pink so prominently before, and then there's a little bit of green right there, which I think is really nice. So that's nice too. So these other ones, they're just in there as bonus rocks or whatever. But I like this honeycomb coral and the way that's turning out. You know, that wasn't really what I was after, but I still like it. Okay, that's nice. And of course we have to see how this tiny pudding stone is doing. And it survived. I can't believe it. It survived. There's a unakite that looks really nice. Okay, what we're going to do now is we're going to scrub these up. We're going to put them in borax for a couple hours, clean them off real good, then we're going to put them in the polish. So stay tuned. Okay, we're back at it, and what we're going to do is we're going to put some of these spacers. I'm not really keen on these things. I don't think they do a very good job, but they're all I have right now, so I'm going to just kind of load it up. And I don't want there to be a lot of space in there for things to bang around. And then I'm going to put in just a teaspoon of this borax. I'm getting to where I don't like that so much either, especially if there's little tiny clumps. They don't always break up. You'd think they would, but then I'm going to add some water here. And now just a few hours and I'll pull it and we'll see what we've got. All right, these rocks have been spinning around for a couple hours now. I'm going to just dump them out. Hopefully they got cleaned up and not scratched up or fractured or had any kind of problem. And it does look like they are very nice. Of course, this is the one I'm really interested in. and I'm pleased. These others, just a bonus. Next on to the polish, and we'll see what that looks like. Now, because there are so many imperfections in this particular rock, the polish may just stick in those little spots and might end up looking ugly, but we'll cover that bridge when we get there. Cross that bridge, blow that bridge up, or whatever we need to do. We're ready for the polish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of these lousy little spacers in there. Call them lousy because I don't think they do a very good job. Maybe I have to break down and get some of those ceramic pieces and use those. But anyway, I've got these now, and I'm a minimalist, so I'll just give it a shot. I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of this polish. All right. And some water. I already have a little bit of water in there, so I won't have to add very much more. The fear that I have is there's so many little imperfections in that one big stone that the polish will be these white chunks that will stick in those little imperfections, and if that happens, I'm not going to be a happy camper. I'll tell you that for sure. But that's how we learn, right? We learn by having some successes and having some failures. Overall, it's kind of a fun little project. All right, I'm going to put that in for 7 days and 7 nights. We'll see how this project works out. I don't know if you can hear that, but this thing has been running rough all day. And what I have is a belt that's about ready to go out. So every once in a while I'll come out here and I see that it's giving me an error message, an error. It stops and I restart it and it works for a while, and then it quits again and gives me another error message. So what I'm going to do, even though it's only been 4 days, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to see what I've got. I'm going to wash this up a little bit and pour in a little bit of water. That's nice. We'll see what it looks like when it's all done. That's nice. All right, all that remains is to see how it took the polish. I will reveal. It's only been 4 days. In the tumbler, my belt broke. Not my belt, but the belt on the tumbler. That broke, and so this is 4 days. And I'm pretty pleased with this. It looks really sharp. It's a nice little specimen. And to think I just found this in a field. The glaciers brought it to me. Pretty much you can't tell where the plow hit it, just barely. You can see a lot of the jasper and the quartz, and I'm pleased. I mean, it's a little smooth, but it's just smooth enough. And it doesn't look like a pile of pudding. Now, the other smaller pudding stone, my grandson, he saw it, he wanted it. He takes priority, so I don't have it anymore. Nothing's too good for your grandkids. But these other rocks, they turned out really nice. So I'm pretty pleased with them as well. Unikite, so forth. Not bad. So for bonus rocks, I think it was a bonus. And this little pudding stone survived, which kind of surprises me, but it survived. So it was a pretty good experiment. I'm pleased. That one's real pretty. And if this has been helpful to you, then that's great.
Here is a better look at this beautiful specimen of pudding stone. Smooth it out just a little bit to make it a little bit more attractive. I'm happy with it. Still shows a lot of the character of the rock.